Coming up this hour, with 10 days to the December 7th general elections, we will engage our correspondents for views on what Ghanaians are saying ahead of the polls.
And also coming up this afternoon, Electoral Commission holds meetings with journalists aimed at equipping them ahead of the crucial December 7 elections.
Plus, this afternoon, a special focus on how you can avoid having your vote rejected on December 7th. Well, those are the top stories. This is NewsCentral, and I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date. NewsCentral starts right now. Right, let's delve right into the conversations we have for you this afternoon. And in 10 days, just 10 days, eligible Ghanaian voters will go to the polls to decide who leads the country for the next 4 years. We'll want to touch base with a number of our correspondents to tease the mood of the electorate ahead of what looks to be a very crucial national exercise. And we are starting off from the Ashanti region, Kumasi specifically, the capital. Our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar has joined us now. He has been already engaging some of the constituents on what would influence or inform whom they vote for. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And to start with, we have in recent weeks observed an intensified political activity or atmosphere in the Ashanti region. We know it's predominantly a safe region in total for the NPP. What are the odds for the smaller parties and the NDC that is seeking to gain at least 30% in the Ashanti region?
Well, Martin, like you said, almost all the political parties have intensified their campaign, and even from Monday up to date, both the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress and their representatives have kind of hijacked the media spaces in the Ashanti region. They are just moving from one media station to the other to campaign and also moving down to engage people. We have Afrafanto, who is also very, very visible in the region. So everybody is kind of scrambling for the vote. You engage the voters, and some wouldn't tell you where they will be voting. To others will also tell you the direction. But you know, in election, and they said you can never trust the voter until the D-Day. So, like you said, while the MPP is trying to get 80% of the vote, NDC is also looking at 35%. Then Alantu is looking at getting more. They have not given a percentage, but they are looking at getting more of their vote in the Ashanti region for a decisive victory. So everybody is campaigning, but you engage the electorate too. You realize that people are geared up to campaign, even though earlier polls show that there is likely to be voter apathy here. That's how come even the president himself, in his 3-day tour, kept on pleading with the people of Ashanti region to come out in their numbers and vote for the New Patriotic Party, because they realize that this is their stronghold, and in an event there is a voter apathy, it is likely going to affect them. So everything is ongoing. But earlier I spoke to some of the electorate who say they are ready to vote and have already decided on who to vote for. Let's listen to some of them.
As for everybody to vote is necessary. So I have decided I will vote. But for me, I will not vote for NDC or MPP. They've done their part. So they should give a way for the independent candidate or the minor or the smaller parties also come and do their best, so that we try them and see if they also come and then they are not able to help, and then we know that Ghana, our politicians cannot help us.
In fact, I was thinking today is December 7th because my card is here, right? So I am ready and prepared to vote against MPP this election. It's not about free SHS. It is about the hardship and the economic problem that Bawumia and his associate has created for us.
So I believe as a Ghanaian, it's my right and my responsibility to vote for who I think will help Ghana to grow. So yes, of course, I'm prepared. We all want the betterment of Ghana. So whoever we think that will come and then help Ghana to grow, that is what we are looking for.
Right. Ibrahim, we've heard a number of the constituents within the Ashanti region giving clear indications that yes, they actually will vote. But you have also been speaking to a political analyst on the very thorny issue of voter apathy. What exactly has his thoughts been on this?
Exactly. Professor Edu Jemfi is also urging the NCC because, like I said, there were polls that came out to suggest that most people are not likely to vote because either they do not want to vote for NDC or MPP, so they wouldn't participate at all. They are just keeping their vote in their pocket. But for Professor Edu Jemfi, he believes that the more we record this kind of voter apathy, it is an indicative that people are gradually losing trust in the system. And for that matter, we should do everything possible to reverse this decision. Let's listen to what he has been telling me.
Fundamentally, when people do not show up to the polls, we are likely to vote into power an individual who may not reflect the will of the people. And so it is important that every nook and cranny, there is that kind of public education from the NCC around this time for us to engineer a process to allow everyone to.
Right, and that's Professor Edu Jemfi, a political analyst, concluding that report that was filed by Ibrahim Abubakar. Ibrahim, thank you so much. Certainly one of our key figures when it comes to coverage of this year's elections in the Ashanti region. Still on issues related to elections, though.
Now, the Electoral Commission is holding the last of meetings with journalists aimed at equipping them ahead of the crucial December elections. The media coverage of the elections has come under some scrutiny following plans by the Electoral Commission to restrict coverage at constituency and regional collation centers to credible media outlets. Let's join Mawena Egbeta now. He's sitting through the ongoing training, which is seeking to answer questions even ahead of the special voting scheduled for December 2. Mawena, good afternoon to you. I see you're out of the meeting now. What has the Commission been saying to journalists?
Right, and so, Committee, quite a lot of things being discussed, a lot of questions being posed by media persons ranging from special voting to processes which a lot of these journalists will be covering the elections would have to go through on election day and even on special voting day, which is scheduled for December 2nd. Dr. Siribo Kweku, who is a director in charge of training at the Electoral Commission, has been seeking to answer a number of these questions. And out of these questions he's been answering, quite a number of things have been sticking out. For starters, having to do with collation of election results. We know that that's come up particularly on the side of the media because of conversations about which media houses will be allowed to constituency collation centers and the likes. But he's announced or informed journalists of a number of reforms that the Electoral Commission is introducing during this year's election, starting with the collation at the constituency level, where, unlike previously, where we've seen from all of the polling stations in different constituencies moving to the collation center with ballot boxes from the respective polling station, that will not be a thing which will be witnessed during this year's election. It is one of the measures the Electoral Commission is putting in place going forward. So what will happen is that every presiding officer at every polling station will, after the result is counted and all the necessary form details filled, will go to the coalition, the constituency coalition center, with the pink sheet of their respective polling station, and that's the only thing they'll be taken to the coalition center. Unlike previously, where they'll have to travel to the coalition center along with the ballot boxes will go to the district election offices, and then the presiding officer will go to the coalition center with the pink sheet, from where collation will proceed. Now, he makes additional reference to the fact that the collation will happen in two forms. There will be a manual collation, which will be done with the respective pink sheets, which will come from the presiding officers, and then a digital one, which will be done as well. And so that's the latest in terms of what we will see going forward as journalists when we go to these collation centers during December 7 and afterwards, as the collation of election results will happen. That's the latest of what we will witness at these places. And there's been question asked as to whether or not it will aid the process, because we've heard the Electoral Commission, one of their deputy commissioners, announce plans to announce the election results within 72 hours. Whether or not that will aid the process, well, he's shied away from answering that question to be specific, but there can be some inclination drawn as to how a reform like this could aid the process in being able to declare the result at the constituency level a lot quicker, Kennedy.
I see. Marna, also concerns have been raised about the number of media houses allowed at the constituency and regional collation centers. Tell us a bit more about the Commission's response to these concerns that have been raised.
On the ground here, there's not been a formal response just as yet. There's been a number of questions and informal conversations which have been had between journalists and then respectives or representatives of the Electoral Commission as to what the way forward will be. But officially as well, we've been seeing that statement from the Electoral Commission, who say that they are engaged in conversations with the Ghana Journalists Association and then GIBA as well, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, following what has been backlash in relation to how they intend going about this regional and constituency collation. You can lean back into what we're hearing now in terms of the reforms at the constituency collation centers, and then begin to draw inferences, because they are seeking to decongest these constituency collation centers, reason for which they perhaps announced these reforms which affected the media as well. But we will seek to get official responses from him, and then as well the Ghana Journalists Association's president, who is here, and provide that a lot later, Kemeni.
I see, Marna. Thank you so much for the reporting.
And like we keep reiterating, 10 days, it's just 10 days, unbelievable, right? 10 days to December 7, and we're still touching base with some of our reporters. We're going to the Volta region now and engage Faisal Abdul Idrisu on what's going on in the region in the build-up to December 7. Faisal, thank you for your time. First of all, 10 more days to go. What have you been hearing on the grounds in the Volta region?
So the Volta region remains calm, relatively peaceful. What you hear as far as the election is concerned is the fact that there has been some form of enthusiasm among voters ahead of the election. You will recall that in 2016 and 2020, there was so much voter apathy recorded in the Volta region. We may be seeing a surge in terms of the numbers and in terms of the number of people who will be taking part in the election. And so the issue of apathy may reduce largely because of the enthusiasm we are seeing on the part of voters. But among the voters, as far as the conversations are concerned, are the issues of the Aflao Whole Road, the issue of youth unemployment, and of course, the issue of the economy, which are forming the conversation and would influence the kind of choices they make on December 7. I've been speaking to some of the voters here in Ko. Let's have a listen to what they've been saying.
I'm going to vote based on the economic hardship, because me like this, I'm a graduate. I completed school and I finished my national service, but then as of now, I still don't have work doing. I still ride on my Aboboya Pragia in and out. So I can't see the system is up and running. Nothing is working. Because they told us when they come, they are going to make everything good. They are going to arrest the dollar. Now the dollar, I think the dollar is even far gone. So I can't say they've worked. They've done nothing. And I think we need change. But then the change, I can't say I am going to vote for party A or party B. But then on that day, I know who I am going to. I know who I'm going to vote for. MPP Odo and
I am personally impressed with the MPP's performance in NewsCentral. They have constructed new roads and built an assembly complex. There are things that exist today that did not exist in the past. And so December 7, I'll vote for the MPP again.
All right, so at least you know what people are thinking about in the Volta region, specifically in Ho. Now, the key issue that we've also called you on, Faisal, has to do with the fact that the Electoral Commission has finally deployed the ballot materials for the Volta region, which we are told has arrived, the parliamentary and presidential materials. So first of all, have you seen these items come in? Where exactly are they? What can you tell us about them?
Martin, the ballot materials arrived last night at about 10 p.m. and were received at the Volta Regional Command of the Ghana Police Service. This morning, the political parties dispatched their various constituency election directors to the regional headquarters. And as you can see from behind me, they are already at work, sorting out the bags and also counting the ballots. They want to be sure of the statistics available before they leave here. It's going to be a long day job. But we're told that the Volta region is supposed to receive some 256 bags. There are going to be some 186 bags for the presidential elections, and of course 70 for the parliamentary elections. And so the total of this will make 256. That is what the parties here have received. Here, as I speak to you, there are various stakeholders, including the security, representatives from the NDC, the MPP, the CPP, the NDP, among others. Now, for the Volta region, there are about 1,014,804 voters. On Monday 2nd, 9,030 of those persons will be taking part in the special voting across some 22 voting centers. And so, before Monday, we've been informed that the materials needed for the special voting would have been dispatched to the various district police commands, then be moved to the voting centers on Monday for the election. Then after that, the materials needed for the December 7 election will follow. But today, after everything is done, everything will be packed back to the police armory until the distribution to the various constituencies are done. On Thursday, we've also been informed that other materials will be arriving. That is tomorrow. But here at the ground, I've been speaking to the NDC and the MPP in particular, who have been monitoring these very process keenly. I spoke to Pope Yavu of the MPP, who is the regional secretary, and also James Kunu of the NDC, the regional secretary. Let's listen to what they say.
Faisal, we'll definitely bring their thoughts also to our viewing public. But thank you so much for that report. Faisal Abdul Idrisu is our Volta regional correspondent, reporting on the arrival of the EC materials and subsequent issues expected to roll out in the region. Now, social interventions and provision of infrastructure are critical issues that residents of Oda in the eastern region are likely to prioritize when casting their votes in the upcoming December 7th elections. With just 10 days remaining until the polls, our correspondent Catherine Esinam Aku Ahiekpo reports from the Oda constituency.
A population of about 60,000 people, with 45,773 registered voters, 98 polling stations, and 1 special voting center. This constituency is considered a stronghold for the NPP. NPP has won its parliamentary seats consecutively in the past 6 elections. I'll be speaking to some of the natives to know what will influence their decision to vote on December 7th election.
As a first-time voter, I'll consider a lot of things, such as roads. To look behind, this road has been like this for so many years, and then the economy. I think I'll, based on these factors, to start my vote on 7th December.
I think everyone knows the best. Yes, everyone knows the best. Moreover, when you go to hospital these days, you don't need to go in for your folder. And even at times, when you go for the folder, either it's torn or it's fault. But now everything is on computer. They will ask you, go to OPD, go and see the doctor, everything. The moment you get to the consulting room, all your histories has been there already.
The free education policy, that is number one. It is a chance for everybody, no matter how wealthy or
Welcome back to your Election Command Center, and like we indicated, we are doing a quick trip around the country and touching base with some of our reporters to know what's happening ahead of December 7. Now, voters in the Kpandai constituency of the northern region have shared varied opinions on issues that will influence them going into the December polls. Let's touch base with our reporter who is monitoring Kpandai constituency for us, Samuel Kisi, who has joined us via Zoom for a quick chat. Samuel, thank you for joining us. First of all, tell us what the key issues in the area are for the electorates, especially as we know that Kpandai constituency is one of the key seats we are watching.
Okay, thank you very much. As you earlier said, the Kpandai, for now, everything is in order, everything is cool in Kpandai here. But speaking to some good people of Kpandai about the elections, a lot of them have expressed their view and concern what they will stand on to vote. Others are looking at the policy. Others also are looking at what the love they have for a particular political party. Some are also saying because of the free education, it has lifted some burden on them. So because of that, they are going to vote for MPP. That's their stand. Others are also saying that looking at the dollar compared to the cedis, in fact, they are also going to vote for NDC. And there are a lot of issues others are raising. But we came across to one woman who said, in fact, she's SDA member, and that particular day, she will not go out to vote. But in Kpandai, everybody has his own view why he or she is going to vote for a particular party. Got permitted next week, Saturday, that will be on 7th December. So in Kpandai, everybody has his own opinion, but most people are talking about the free education, that the free education have lifted a lot of burden on parents. So they are going to vote for MPP because of the free education. But Kpandai is one of the stronghold of NDC since 92. In terms of presidential, MPP have never won the presidential before. But in parliamentary, somewhere 2012 up to 2020, MPP were able to come in. So this year, we are seeing it that it's going to be skirt and blouse in Kpandai here, just because of the MPP candidate who came for 2 terms from 2012 to 2020 and handed over to NDC candidate again. Others are going to vote a lot of skirt and blouse coming 7th December, which will be next Saturday.
All right, so we know that you've been speaking to some of the constituents. Let's hear them. These are constituents of Kpandai.
On the voting day, it seems I'll be the first person to even cast the vote, because I was an NDC member as I'm talking, and I made a promise. We were even floating doing that free education 419, free education 419, and if only MPP were able to do the free education for good 2 years and it did not collapse, I'll go out from NDC to join MPP. That is why I'm voting for MPP.
I'm going to vote for the MPP this December elections. Why I'm voting for them is because of the free senior high school. I abandoned the metro about fans, metro my NDC. Because and yes, NDC I had in my party, my party.
Clearly, it tells you what the constituents think, how they will vote. And I keep saying that it's okay, it should be okay for you to confidently say you vote for Party A or Party B, and there should be no qualms about that. Thank you very much, Samuel Kisi, joining us from the Kpandai constituency.
Away from that, the state of the economy and state of roads are shaping the decision of voters in the Gomoa East constituency of the central region. With a few days left to the December polls, 3 candidates are vying for the parliamentary seat in Gomoa East. But the contest is between the NPP candidate Kojo Asemenyi and NDC parliamentary candidate who is the incumbent MP Desmond Petu. The NPP and NDC candidates have intensified their campaigns as they face each other for the third time in succession. Akwesi Ado is our correspondent following the story for us. He's joining us from Yenyano in the Gomoa East constituency. Akwesi, good afternoon to you. Tell us a bit more about this area, the Gomoa East constituency.
Okay, so this is the Gomoa East constituency, and currently I am here at Gomoa East, one of the 3 main communities located along the coastal area of this particular constituency. This is one of the largest constituencies in terms of land size in the central region. And then it comes second in terms of population size. It is expected that over 116,000 registered voters will be taking part in the December 7th election. This particular constituency, regardless of the fact that it is the largest in size and comes second in terms of population, is one of the most underdeveloped constituencies here in the central region. And so, ahead of the December 7th elections, constituents here are concerned about the state of affairs, especially when it comes to the state of roads in this particular constituency. Also, the general economic situation in the country is something some voters are also considering, and they are telling me that it would inform their decision when they go to the polls on December 7th. I have some constituents here. Let's listen to what they have to say.
And they say,
I'm voting because the current economic situation is tough, and the surge in fuel prices is negatively impacting our business. I'm voting because the state of our roads is deplorable and requires immediate attention.
The bad road network, so it's not easy for us to transport ourselves to another place, so our works are very difficult for us. And then previously, we all know our former MP, Honorable Kudwasimeni, he started Budumram Town Roads project. But after he left office, this current MP came, he couldn't continue from there.
Agwesi, the parliamentary candidates from the NDC and NPP, we have the NDC aiming to retain the seat, the NPP hoping to wrestle it from the NDC. How would you say the campaign is playing out in the last days? Well, it seems we have lost Akwesi.
As I speak with you now, we have the NDC parliamentary candidate here in Gomoa. It is also expected that the second lady, Samira Bawumia, would also be here later in the day and then join the NPP parliamentary candidate to campaign. This is the third time both the NPP and the NDC candidates are meeting elections. They first met in 2016, which saw the NPP candidate winning, that is Kojo Asimeri. And then in 2020, the NDC candidate returned to face Kojo Asimeri and then beat him the elections and then won. And so this is the third time, and then Kojo Asimeri is seeking to beat the incumbent MP, that is Desmond Tracy. There is also another candidate for the APC, Muntari Mohammed, who is showing up in the race. I have been speaking to both the NPP and NDC parliamentary candidates, and here is what we are also telling us.
Only because it's a one-time seat or something. It's because people really feel that I'm well positioned. I am better placed to bring the development that we need to bring to West.
For inshallah, we are returning the seat with a massive vote, not less than 60 to 70%. There has been a series of intervention by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Honourable Desmond Tracy, in the constituency. The people of the Gomoa East constituency bear witness that truly he doesn't have his government in power, and equally he is suffering. Notwithstanding that, because of this suffering, he wouldn't say he wouldn't care for his constituents.
Well, that'll be all for the Regional Hub. Well, now we'll take a bit more stories. Now, rejected ballots often rank among the highest vote totals right after the major political parties. With just 10 days to go until the December 7th elections, Enyonam Haliga in today's election nuggets will focus on how you can avoid having your vote rejected. This, according to election watchers, constitutes a significant blotch on voter education among the populace.
It's 10 days to the December 7 general election, and this is your daily election nuggets. Did you know Rejected ballots account for nearly third highest vote after the NPP and NDC in every election. In 2008, rejected ballots, if valid, could have prevented a runoff. What if I told you there's a chance you could contribute in reducing the number of rejected ballots this year? Ghana's electoral laws allow spoiled ballots to be replaced. And then you may ask, what are spoiled ballots? Spoiled ballot is a paper that's swelled in one way or the other by ink, torn across or crumpled, and has not been placed in the ballot box. Well, if you happen to find yourself in a situation where your ballot is soiled in one way, return the said ballot paper to the returning officer at your polling station and have a new ballot paper returned to you. Always make sure that your ballot paper has a stamp of the Electoral Commission on it before proceeding to cast your vote. This ensures your vote, when eventually cast and dropped in the ballot box, is not marked as registered, as rejected during sorting and counting. Protect your vote and make sure you go out to vote. That's it on today's edition of the Daily Election Nugget here on your Election Command Center.
And Haliga with our reports. Let's share a bit more from Regulation 40 of CI 127, which specify conditions under which a ballot may be rejected. Remember, we've already created the scenario where rejected ballots have increased over the years. Under these circumstances, you could get a different paper to vote. Lack of an official mark, failure to clearly indicate a choice, marks that could identify the voter, voting for more than one candidate. All these conditions will have your ballot paper rejected. Remember, we have educated you this morning that once that happens, you can go for another. More from across the regions, this time in the Bono region, where security services are poised to discharge their duties effectively before, during and after the 2024 elections. During a peace trail in Sunyang to prove their readiness for the task ahead, commanding officer for 3rd Infantry Battalion, who doubles as grandson commander, Lieutenant Colonel Akoto Apau, urged all the security services to support the police service to ensure a peaceful election. Claude Kumie-Bisa is joining us with a bit more from the region. Claude, good afternoon to you. 10 days to the elections. Well, how would you describe, preparations in the Bono region?
Well, I would say preparation so far so good. The security service, all the security personnel here in the region are putting everything together to ensure that this election is become a violent-free one. Even if there is violence, they will put all measures in place to ensure that everything becomes, the elections becomes successful. As a result, due to this, they met this morning at the Jubilee Park, where they had interactions and they were taken through what they are supposed to do during the elections day to ensure that everything goes on successfully. So due to that, they hit the streets to register their presence and then to also make the general public know that they are ever ready for the task to ensure that there is maximum peace and security during, after and before and after the general elections. The chairman of the election committee, that is the DCOP Joseph Jamra, has been speaking to us concerning the measures they've put in place and what they are going to do to ensure that there is peace and security during, before, and then after the elections.
Claude, we'll take a listen in subsequent broadcasts, but thank you so much for reporting. You're still live here on NewsCentral. We'll take another breather. When we come back, a few more stories.
Mahama once said,
I've seen more demonstrations and strikes in my first 2 years. I don't think it can get worse in the second 2 years. I have the dead goat syndrome.
Dadanoa.
Oh, now it's about time for us to get out.
Wrap up the show. Yeah, it's been an hour of intense news from around the country, and if you want to stay in the know of what's happening, that's one of our social media handles you need to follow. It's 3news.gh on Instagram, and then every other conversation, the exclusive interviews, etc., you will get it at the tips of your fingers on your phones while on the go. All right, so that'll be it for our show. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu Dati.
And I'm Kemeni Amano. The afternoon show is next. Bye-bye.